And this is also something to pay attention to. We got that new advisory from the National Hurricane Center in regards to what is now Tropical Storm Melissa. We do have a hurricane watch that's also been issued. That's for southern portions of Haiti, including the capital, Port-au-Prince, and a tropical storm watch that's also been issued for Jamaica. We are noting that it is not only now a tropical storm, it was never a depression, because those winds, notice the winds already at 50 miles per hour, that easily surpassed the threshold for a tropical storm, which would have to be winds of 45 miles per hour. And we also don't have a speed attached to it, west at 14 miles per hour. That pressure, 1,003 millibars, was actually really interesting to note here in the report from the National Hurricane Center, saying that a ship in the area passing near the center of the system reported that minimum pressure of about 1,003 millibars. So we've been depending on satellite imagery really up till now and some of the radar data, surface observations, but we'll be getting the hurricane hunters into Melissa later this afternoon. That is data that should give a better assessment of not just the structure, but also the strength, and eventually, hopefully be helpful in regards to the future of Melissa.
But there is still a lot of uncertainty, and we're working on getting that cone for you. It's a pretty complex cone because the forecast cone gives you the ultimate steering, or what the National Hurricane Center is thinking of the steering. The movement toward the west was notable too. It's now down to 14 miles an hour. At points, it was traveling west at more than 20 miles an hour. And fast-moving systems, especially in their infancy, have a hard time organizing. The fact that this was able to slow down some, it's able to develop a center and that area of low pressure, which the ship measured with a pressure, as you mentioned, of 1,003 millibars. So are we good to show the cone, Matthew, yet? Okay, so we're hanging on this graphic until we have it. The 11 o'clock advisory, the numbers that we have, Marissa, you had mentioned 50 miles an hour. This is expected forecast to become a hurricane. And so that's why we've got the hurricane watch that's in effect now for a portion of the Haitian coastline. It's concerning, though, because when we look at when it's going to become a hurricane, 96 hours out. The cone only goes out 120 hours. I mean, that's several days that we're talking here, but the uncertainty grows almost exponentially when you talk about where this will ultimately track. But there is certainly something to be said about a slow-moving storm in the Caribbean gradually strengthening. The Caribbean has plenty of fuel to do that, as we've talked about all morning.
The fuel being the very warm water. It was interesting because now we're getting a lot of, I almost feel like when we get these discussions from the National Hurricane Center, it's like you're getting a look behind the scenes, right? Everything that they're analyzing. And when you talk about the conditions and noting that we're getting mixed signals in terms of the intensity of Melissa. It does appear that there's maybe a little bit of drier air in the vicinity of Melissa over the next few days, maybe some moderate vertical wind shear. So maybe that holds back the strengthening. So right now, not expecting rapid strengthening with Melissa, but more of a steady strengthening. But also noting that the future intensity is linked to the track, and it is uncertain beyond a couple of days. But noting, as you see here with the forecast cone, that's probably the oddest one we've had all season. Nope, we've had one other one. But noting, when you see that bubble, it stalls. It lingers in this area.
And that's the cone uncertainty by hour 96 or maybe hour 120, not exactly sure. Sunday morning will be 120. So you're looking at the diameter of that. So you can imagine that there's a possibility of this thing staying on the south side of the cone or the northern side. I mean, it gets real confusing, but this is the air diameter that the National Hurricane Center puts out. It's fixed for the entire year, but your uncertainty grows as you head deeper into a forecast. So when we're looking by Sunday morning, it's possible it's getting close to Cuba, or it's still remaining well south of Jamaica. So there is high uncertainty where it's going to go. And the Hurricane Center explicit in talking about that subtropical ridge, how some models want Melissa to take that route, finding a weakness in the ridge, while other models have persisted in allowing that ridge to stay intact and this staying to the south and pushing off to the west.
Yeah, the official track forecast between the Google DeepMind Ensemble mean track and the correct consensus aid. You know, and I also want to point, we talked about the Dominican Republic. This just follows where the center could go. There will be a lot of tweaks with this, but that still puts potentially some areas of the DR at risk for still some very heavy rain.
All right. Well, Tropical Storm Melissa continuing to watch.